The Atlantic slave trade stands as one of history's most harrowing and complex narratives. A dark chapter that not only shaped the lives of millions, but also forged the very foundations of modern economies and societies. Spanning over 3 centuries, this trade was not merely an episode in the annals of Western colonialism. It was an economic engine that drove the rise of capitalism, propelling the Industrial Revolution and creating immense wealth for European powers while systematically draining African societies of their youth, strength, and futures. At the heart of this tragedy were the African kingdoms and empires, which were often caught in a web of coercion and complicity. While many were victims of the slave trade, some participated willingly, drawn into a system that incentivized internal conflicts and wars. The lure of European goods, guns, alcohol, textiles, prompted the capture and sale of fellow Africans, a grim exchange that perpetuated cycles of violence and exploitation. The very fabric of African societies was torn apart as communities were destabilized, families shattered, and generations lost to the chains of slavery. Once forcibly transported across the Atlantic, the enslaved Africans brought with them invaluable skills and knowledge. They were not just passive victims. They were skilled farmers, engineers, blacksmiths, and cultural carriers. Their expertise in rice cultivation, for instance, transformed the agricultural landscape of the American South, while their craftsmanship in ironwork and architecture contributed to the development of colonial infrastructure. The plantations that produced sugar, tobacco, and cotton, goods that became the backbone of transatlantic trade, thrived on the labor of these individuals, whose skills were exploited to generate wealth for their captors. The Middle Passage, a term that evokes horror, was the brutal journey that millions endured as they were crammed into ships under inhumane conditions. This leg of the journey was characterized by unspeakable suffering, with countless lives lost to disease, malnutrition, and despair. The cyclical economy that emerged from the slave trade not only enriched European merchants and colonial powers, but also laid the groundwork for systemic racism. This ideology was crafted to justify the commodification of human lives, dehumanizing those who were enslaved and embedding a narrative that positioned them as inferior. The economic ripples of the transatlantic slave trade reached far beyond the shores of Africa and the Americas. Goods produced by enslaved labor became core exports that fueled the rise of banking systems and imperial conquests, creating a network of wealth that intertwined with global markets. The prosperity of European nations during the 18th and 19th centuries was inextricably linked to the exploitation of enslaved peoples. The profits derived from slavery financed industrial advancements, urban development, and colonial expansion, shaping the modern world in ways that are often overlooked. Today, the legacy of the slave trade manifests in stark inequalities that persist across generations. The racial wealth gap, urban segregation, and educational disparities are direct descendants of a system designed to disenfranchise and marginalize. The prison industrial complex, which disproportionately affects communities of color, is another facet of this enduring impact, a modern reflection of the systemic injustices rooted in the transatlantic slave trade. To address these issues, there must be a commitment to a deeper understanding of history, one that transcends a mere paragraph in a textbook. It is imperative to confront the past with honesty, acknowledging the voices and experiences of those who lived, resisted, and endured the horrors of slavery. Only through this reckoning can we begin to rewrite narratives that have long erased the contributions and suffering of countless individuals. The call for justice and equity requires not just reflection, but action. A collective effort to dismantle the structures of inequality that persist today, ensuring that the lessons of the past inform our pursuit of a more just and equitable future.